All right, so Geekfest was going strong, and then this happened. We're in the dark. The hydro is out everywhere. People are shopping by candlelight. Actually, people are shopping by cell phone light. This is just kind of making it a little more interesting.
Well, it's Monday after the 2-day event on the weekend, and I'm bagged. Somewhere in the midst of the power outages and trying to get my fridge plugged into the generator so I wouldn't lose all my product in my fridge, we managed to, me and my brother, is who I mean by we, I managed to crush my finger. I don't know if you can see that. I do have a little bit of a black spot under my fingernail. I managed to do that. I managed to mess up my toe. It was just a mess. And I also managed, come over here, to spill a whole jar of river blue dye in a pan. So rather than let this go to waste, I'm going to add some water and some fleece, and we're going to dye it up. And while we do this, I'm going to tell you a little bit of details about what happened. Oh, that's my oven warmed up. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what happened here in Ontario yesterday. I'm just going to move you over a little bit. So we had a vicious storm in Ontario that went like all the way from Toronto to Ottawa, which is like a long distance. I am going to put in a bunch of pictures of what happened across the province because it is truly terrifying, the strength of this storm and how quickly it happened. So a dare echo is a very long-lived and damaging thunderstorm. A storm is classified as a dare echo if wind-damaged swath extends more than 240 miles and has wind gusts of at least 58 miles per hour or greater along most of the storm's path. They are also referred to as land hurricanes. Sadly, dare echoes are one of the most difficult to forecast severe weather phenomenon. I'm on my Facebook group, Ontario Storm Reports. It's run by some really great guys called Instant Weather. They save lives. They're amazing. Dare echo is a group of thunderstorms that produces a swath of downburst winds that cause intermittent damage along a path over 600 kilometers long and 100 kilometers wide. In this case, the damage extended almost 1,000 kilometers from the Michigan border all the way to Quebec City, Quebec, hitting the most populated parts of the country with damaging wind gusts in excess of 120 kilometers per hour. So while we had the hydro outage that shut us down for the day, as I show you these pictures, understand that we got off easy. If this storm had hit the arena where we were, it could have been very bad. As it is, there were 5 people lost their lives in this series of storms. All right, so there's a lot of dye in here. So I'm going to get some hot water going. Now, I have here a BFL in brown. So it's also very dirty, but that's for my No Fleece Left Behind page, which you can find if you go looking. So I'm going to dye this. And then I have this gray Gotland. And I'm going to throw them in the pan, throw it in the oven, use up all that dye. Now it's probably going to take a fair bit of water because I'm putting the fiber in dry. Because, you know, that's just how I roll. So, we're at the arena, and there's people shopping and laughing, and there's cake, and everything is just going great. It's a hot, muggy day. It was so hot. And there was lots of people shopping, looking around, checking out all the product. And then just out of nowhere, boom, the lights go out. All the hydro quit. And everybody's like, oh, no, I didn't do it. Nobody panicked. Everybody just turned on their flashlights on their cell phones. Sometimes modern technology can be amazing. So people are still shopping by cell phone lights. We had no idea what was going on in the rest of the province because it missed us, thankfully. But because of what was happening, this dare echo hitting the most populated areas of Ontario, no less, cell service is going down. We can't get data, texts, calls, all that stuff because it's overloaded in other parts of the province. People who are actually in the middle of a disaster and are trying to contact, friends, loved ones, figure out what's going on, because we had no clue what was going on. And we couldn't get the information because the cell networks were going down based on what was happening elsewhere. So basically, we're all just like, oh, okay, the hydro just went out for a little bit, probably because, too many air conditioners running because it's so hot. We're not overly concerned. So we're all just, doing our best because, it's just a hydro outage, right? So after about an hour in the dark, it became, a concern that it could be a health hazard. So we had to shut her down. So everybody was escorted out of the building. We just closed up shop for the day. Still having a hard time getting any data because the network is so overwhelmed. But about this point, I started to be able to get onto Facebook periodically. So like you click on a link and then you'd wait 5 minutes while it does the little pinwheel of death. And then all of a sudden it's like you'd get data for a minute and it'd go ping and load up some stuff so you could see what was happening. And I started to see these reports coming out of Ottawa, which is only 2 hours away from us here. And I was like, oh, a tornado hit in Ottawa. So I'm thinking that's what caused this, right? It's this tornado that hit in Ottawa. Well, then we start to get reports out of Uxbridge, and Uxbridge is just devastated. But anyways, the reports started to come in more and more areas down this swath. So basically, like, this is the bottom part of Ontario. Here's Ottawa, here's Toronto. It basically went and hit the most populated areas, which is absolutely terrifying. So I'm starting to see some of this footage, and it's just, the devastation is just, wow. Now, I mean, a tornado hits hard, but it generally hits like a smaller area, and you can always hope that it doesn't hit a highly populated area. But apparently with this dare echo, along with all these downbursts and high winds and hail and destruction, it can also breed tornadoes. So we're still waiting for reports from Environment Canada on whether they're officially saying, yes, there was tornadoes or not, because we're not allowed to call it a tornado. Even if you saw the tornado, you're not allowed to call it a tornado until Environment Canada says, yeah, it was indeed a tornado. I mean, it swirls like a tornado. It, gathers debris like a tornado. I'm pretty sure it's a tornado, but we're not the experts. We don't know. So, excuse me. So we have no power, which is fine. I can deal with that. I have emergency lights and I have a power brick for my phone so I can stay kind of in contact with the world. But as we're getting these reports of how much destruction has been done in the most populated areas of Ontario, we're like, we're not getting hydro back for, 12 to 24 hours. We're assuming it's going to be overnight. So my brother has a generator. I don't. I probably should, but I don't. So my brother brought his little generator here, and we just pulled out the fridge to kind of, cool it down again so it could get through the night. Well, that's when in pulling out the fridge, I crushed my finger. Lovely. And I was just like in so much pain. It hurt so bad. But again, let's keep perspective on this. So hydro came back on at 10 o'clock at night. So we knew we would be doing the Geekfest the next day. I'm just going to move you back a bit here. There, now you can see my dirty stove. So we were prepared to go back to Geekfest the next day. Oh my goodness, this is heavy. There we go. I'm going to set the timer for 15 minutes and we'll check it. So we get to Geekfest and we all start talking, and so we were now able to cruise the internet and figure out just how bad it was. And as horrible as it was losing power and losing those sales and all that fun, the only thing we could think was, thank God it didn't hit here, because we were in an arena surrounded by trees with a big steel roof. If it had come through, there would have been people hurt in that arena. Like someone would have been hurt with the way the tables were set up and everything, like trying to get out of that building in a panic. Someone would have been hurt, if not killed. And that would be in the best circumstances. Like it could have torn off the roof. It, like, just when you start to think about it, you start to freak out. So we're just grateful it didn't hit us. I can't believe like what some of these people are facing, like the loss of homes. I'll put it in here. There's one lady, the Dare Echo literally picked her whole house up off the foundation, the entire house, and moved it like a foot and set it back down again. So the house is entirely intact, but completely off the foundation. It's a complete write-off. I can't imagine in the space of a couple of minutes, literally a couple of minutes, losing your whole home. Like this was crazy. And the fact, like it's the distance that it traveled that makes it such a truly horrifying event. Like it's insane how big a storm this was, how far it traveled to cause so much destruction. Like, it's crazy. I mean, my heart goes out to the people who lost loved ones. There is officially 5 deaths. But when you consider that it went through the most populated areas of Ontario, that could have been so much worse. That doesn't negate the loss of those lives. Absolutely not. I so feel for those families. But it could have been so much worse. Anyways, that was the joy of the Geekfest. I did okay, sales-wise. Paid for my table, made a little bit of profit, spent the profit on other vendor tables, because if you do like craft fairs and stuff, a lot of times what ends up happening is you make a sale and then you go, woohoo, and you run over to another vendor's booth because now you can buy that thing that they have that you want. It turns into just like a big swap meet for crafters as we all go and shop from each other. I love it. It's so much fun. But I mean, then it doesn't cost me really anything to get that, just keep the economy going. Anyways, I'm going to link Ontario Storm Report's Facebook group in the description. I believe it's an open group, so you can go and you can see some of the videos of this storm coming through, because it's terrifying, absolutely terrifying how quickly this happens. You can see some of the photos of the destruction and stuff that's gone on across the province. This is Monday, and there's still, that happened Saturday, and this is Monday, and there's still people who they don't know when they're going to get hydro. There are people who've lost their homes and they're staying in hotels. Like, this is just crazy. The weather is such a powerful force. So basically, just if you hear tornado warnings, please do me a favor, get in your basement, be safe as you can. I will, now that I've gotten this show out of the way, I can get back to doing my spinning, crafting stuff and, saving dye and having fun. So if you like this video, do the stuff down below, because I do stuff like this, sort of, all the time. Thanks for joining me, guys.